We think that America has the worst form of racism because every time you see breaking news in America, they talk about racism. But in the reality, I would tell you that Sweden has the worst form of racism. And let me explain it. Hey guys, welcome back to Analysis with Janet. Here we talk about everything. Feel free to share your thought, your opinion, in whatever thing you're talking about, but always remember to be polite. So I wanted to make this video because I want to talk about something that a lot of people are not aware of. Most times we think that America has the worst form of racism because every time you see breaking news in America, they talk about racism. But in the reality, I would tell you that Sweden has the worst form of racism. And let me explain it. In America, when you're a black person and you come out and say, I've been racial upon, people come out, people want to support you, people want to help you out, people want to do everything possible to see how they can help you get out of that situation. Yeah, in Sweden, it's the other way around. When you come out and say, I've been racial upon, especially if you're somebody like myself coming from Africa, they will tell you how you have low IQ. You have not gone to school properly in your country. Because if you had gone to school properly in Africa, then you would know that they are not racist and they don't have racists in their midst. And then, to even make matters worse, is that the racists in Sweden are being employed by the Swedish government. And when I mean being employed by the Swedish government, I'm talking about the fact that 90% of the people that will racial you here in Sweden are people working in public offices here in Sweden. And the bad thing about it is that even when you bring out evidence, videos, tapes of them abusing you, they are not going to lose their jobs. Nobody's going to intervene. Nobody's going to stop them. Nobody's going to try to remove them from the system. On the contrary, the Swedish system has given them enormous power to take and abuse you. And the people, the racists in Sweden, they are aware of it. If you want to understand more, I could send you to my autistic brother's Facebook page called My Autism Journey in Sweden. You can see it on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook. I have been documenting my autistic brother here for the past 3 good years now, how a medical doctor in Sweden is punishing him for having his disability, which is his autism and intellectual disability. And let me tell you the crazy part of the story is that lady, Jana Willem, she still has a license. She is still practicing as a medical doctor. After 3 years that lady locked up my brother, banned him not to talk to his family for 2 good years because my mom and myself denied to accept that he's a criminal for having his disability. So she went ahead. She restricted us not to talk to him. She restricted him not to talk to us in the claims that we don't want to accept that he has been judged as a criminal. And you could go to my brother's Facebook page. I have more than 200 videos there that we're calling literally every day. And if you see the way they were treating us, it was like, what is the big deal that we Swedes are racist? What's the big deal that we keep racists in our midst that go around abusing black people? And the same thing, he was moved to these other new facilities now called Verkre. In this new place, let me tell you something. In this new place that he is there, they are still calling him a criminal and they're still telling him that he's still going to be there for a very long time because he was judged indefinitely. You take a black, autistic, and intellectual disabled boy that had a meltdown, the Swedish police were called to come and help him because he was stuck in a shopping mall, and the Swedish police were called to come and help him. When they arrived, they turned around and then they pressed charges on him, saying that he fought and resisted them. And then the Solitons court here in Stockholm judged him indefinitely as a criminal. And my family has been documenting his story since 2019 that they passed the judgment on him till now. And no one single Swedish NGO has said, you know what, I'm going to advocate with Emmanuel. I'm going to advocate with the family. None, because that's the thing. That's the difference between the United States and Sweden. In the United States, I've seen cases where black people have been wrongfully judged by their skin color, and you have a lot of NGOs, a lot of celebrities, a lot of people coming out and saying, you know what, I'm not going to let this happen to this black person. Here in Sweden, it's the other way around. If you are a black person and they're abusing you based on your skin, which is the racism I'm talking about, nobody comes out to help you. All of them, they look the other way and then they pretend as if they don't know what they are doing to you. And then they keep going around and making it look like because you're coming from Africa, you have low IQ, you don't know what you're talking about, they haven't done anything wrong to you. And that is why I decided to take on the journey of documenting my autistic and intellectual disabled brother, because I can still remember vividly when my family used to narrate my brother's story, and a lot of Swedish NGOs that will contact. You know what they'll tell my family? That we are interpreting everything wrongly. The fact that we see it as racism or see like his rights are being violated because he's been locked up and he's not allowed to socialize with anybody for having his disability, which is not even contagious, we are interpreting it wrongly. And that's why I tell a lot of people that America doesn't have the worst form of racism, because in America, when you're a black person and you have been racial upon, they will rally with you and give you justice. In Sweden, they will sit quietly, because you know the Scandinavians and the Swedes have this thing where they call the quiet culture, where they claim that they don't want to talk, they don't like talking. Yeah, so they use their quiet culture, and they will sit quietly and they will watch you. You will go around looking for help, looking for whomever to help you, and they will just look the other way and pretend as if they don't know what they have done to you. So let me tell you something. Sweden, Scandinavians, they have the worst form of racism. We only think that America has the worst form of racism because America is out there talking about its racism. America is out there looking for justice. Yeah, in Sweden, yeah, in Scandinavia, if you get racial upon, just know that you're going to do it all by yourself. And most times, because black people don't have the ability to fight back because of the system is employing the racists and giving the racists enormous power, most times they tend to be quiet. And then it makes it seem like, oh, there is no racism. Because if there was racism here, the people would have spoken. No, there is enormous racism here in Sweden. It's a kind of racism where you're locked up. It's a kind of racism that you haven't called a criminal. I was currently judged as a criminal in Sweden because I decided to document my autistic brother's case. I was locked up in the Swedish police because I decided to document my brother's case. So currently, I'm a criminal in the Swedish system because I have decided to document my autistic and intellectual disabled brother here in Sweden that he's been abused by medical doctors that are racist. And these racist doctors, they are not criminals for doing what they're doing. But you, the victim, or you, the loved one of the victim that wants to speak up for you, for the victim, or you want to speak up for yourself, you are going to be the one that is going to be the criminal, not the perpetrator, not the racist, not the one abusing you. So sometimes we think that America has the worst racism. But when you move to Scandinavian countries, when you live in Sweden, when you see how much these people help to pamper and cover their races, then you start to realize that America doesn't have the kind of racism that we face here. Because in America, people will rally and they'll talk for you, they will go out for you, they will stand for you. In Sweden, you're left all by yourself to fight for your justice. And it is not that easy to get it because the system is the one employing the racists. Everybody that has been abusing my autistic and intellectual disabled brother, all of them have been coming from the Swedish system. All of them have a job in the Swedish system. All of them are getting paid by the Swedish tax money. And no matter how much videos and evidence you put out there, they will just look the other way. If you go to my autistic brother's Facebook page called My Autism Journey in Sweden, I have put more than 300 videos now on that page. And if you listen most of those videos, the Swedes don't care. If you like, you document them. For them, racism is like literally legalized. Like to be a racist is okay to them. They don't have a problem living with racists. They don't have a problem associating themselves with racists. They don't have a problem that their tax money is being used to pay racists for the time that they invest in abusing their victims. These people don't have a problem with that. So when I tell you that Scandinavians have the worst form of racism, Sweden has the worst form of racism, I'm telling you because I'm telling you as somebody that is currently experiencing racism in Sweden, as somebody that has experienced racism in Sweden, and somebody that has seen a lot of black people experience racism in Sweden and they cannot even come out to talk, because if they come out to talk, they might even end up losing their jobs and nobody's there to help you. Nobody's there to back you up. Nobody's there to even support you. Even when you have all the evidence presented in front of the table, you think that is enough. No, to them it's like, okay, that's the evidence, and so what? What have we done wrong? So let me tell you something. Sweden has the worst form of racism. The kind of racism that you start to look at yourself and you think like, are we living in the 50s or in the 60s? Because the way racists are the ones controlling literally the Swedish system. These people have so much influence, so much power bestowed on them by the Swedish government to go around attacking people. And that's why a lot of people outside of Sweden don't even know it. Because when you have not lived in Sweden or you have not experienced racism in Sweden, you will not really see the gravity of what racism looks like in Sweden. Because most times victims don't want to talk. Most times victims are scared to talk. And I don't entirely blame them, because when you are living in a country where racists are being covered by the system of that country, then you can imagine how difficult it is to talk. When you're living in a system where their humanitarian NGOs don't want to stand up to advocate with you when you complain about racism, then you can imagine what black people have to go through. So they have to do the job all by themselves. So you have to first you're racial upon, you're trying to figure out how to deal with it. The same time you're struggling to get yourself out of it all by yourself, because there's no help system, there's nobody helping you, there's nobody trying to help you get out of it. Sweden is one of those most racial countries in the world. If you really want to understand it, I'll send you to my autistic and intellectual disabled brothers page called My Autism Journey in Sweden. You can go and watch the videos there. The videos there that you're gonna watch is gonna give you a really deeper understanding to how Swedish government has opened its system and made it really comfortable for racists to penetrate it, and nobody does or says anything to those racists. On the contrary, these people just feel like they own their victims. They do what they want to do to their victims, however, whenever it suits them, and nobody is daring to question them. Nobody's daring to pluck them out of the system. Nobody's daring to say, you know what, you are not going to be in this. You're not welcome in the system. So guys, that was it for today. So I hope to see you guys again in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. So guys, bye guys.